Yeah, that's what I call cocktails. You don't call them cocks?
I don't know, man. I don't know much anymore after having seen this movie.
No, you're not
sure. You're a big martial arts movie fan, right?
Yes.
Where do you rank this in the pantheon of great martial arts films?
For its martial arts or for the spectacle of which was
total
the story
package.
Of Riki. Total package.
The whole Riki.
The whole Riki. I think this Riki-Oh, this story of Riki,
yep.
If you were to put it beside the best of Bruce Lee, it would not fall far from the pinnacles of that story.
Enter the Riki.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is more like fucking, is it Death Note? What was that?
Death Note?
No, not Note.
That?
That's like an anime.
We should trademark that title, though, just in case.
Yeah, we should, yes.
Yeah. Bad Movies and Beer presents Death Note. I like it. Welcome to Bad Movies and Beer. I'm Cooper.
And I'm Nolan.
And today we are discussing legendary. Is this a parody? Is this comedy? I don't even know. Is it the third movie in a row where, like, is this a comedy or not? I guess Surviving Christmas is definitely a comedy, but this is like...
This is supposed
allegedly.
to be serious, I think, at the time.
Is it? I'm not sure. Anyway, we're talking about Riki-Oh, the story of Riki. This spelled differently for some reason.
Yeah, a Hong Kong masterpiece?
It was produced in, yes, Hong Kong, China, I believe.
It is definitely Chinese.
Not Japanese.
No.
You were wrong about that.
What are you talking about? I'm wrong about
This
that.
guy does not know his Asians. I'm sorry, Asian community.
Get the fuck out of here.
Actually, for a minute, we thought it might have been Spanish.
Well, it does take place in a Spanish prison for some reason.
Or prison masculino, as it's called. It's a men's prison, I guess, in Spanish.
Oh, my goodness.
So fucking strange. I can't even explain what we just saw, but we're going to try, I guess, as we go through our episode here.
It is what we do.
But as always, we have paired the movie with the beer. Sadly, perhaps not the most appropriate alcoholic drink this company makes, as you were chastising me for before we started recording.
Oh my goodness. I don't know a lot about this company. They're out of Toronto, Ontario, so close to home for us. It's actually called Storyteller, which is perfect for the story.
Hang on. It's not perfect. What would have been perfect is if I had realized that they make
cocktails. Yes.
And that cocktail in particular is
the Lime Riki.
Yes, a Storyteller Lime Riki would have been perfect
for the story of Riki. Yes,
this is merely a fine connection, I feel.
Now we are Bad Movies and Beer, not Bad Movies and Cocktails.
That's right.
So you did choose the only beer that Storyteller makes, and we believe beer is like a great story. Best enjoyed with friends.
I feel that way about this movie.
That's why Storyteller is brewed with premium ingredients and a crisp, clean flavor that everyone can enjoy. But our beer isn't just about our story. It's about earning a place in yours.
Okay, well, I want to go back for a second because I believe that much like what you just read, this movie best enjoyed with friends. Oh, I would have enjoyed this watching it on my own, but I feel like this is almost a movie where you want to put it on in like a room full of people.
Holy fuck.
And just get everyone reacting to what the fuck happens here.
So you asked me to throw this on the pantheon of martial arts films earlier, and clearly it is not the story that makes this an incredible martial arts film. Some of the action is good, but the martial arts scenes are quick and dirty. The thing that makes this an incredible watch for a group of people is the outrageous effects.
Practical effects.
Holy fuck.
Practical effects.
Absolutely.
Not CG.
Yeah, no, practical
This is fucking
effects.
Practical effects.
I have never seen so many organs of a body torn out of a human. So many fists punched through an orifice in my entire life. And there's a lot of that on the internet, and I just haven't gotten there before.
You know what, though? This could have easily veered into kind of like extreme exploitation. But I feel like they actually did a pretty good job of towing the line where it was like, yes, it was graphic, and yes, it was very visceral, but it was still like, it was not like a gross out movie. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. It wasn't trying to make you like sick or like turned off by the violence. They were just trying to make it feel extremely real.
Yeah.
And it did. Like, it felt real, the kind of makeup and effects that they shared here. And we're going to get into all of those details as we go through it. But before we do, we haven't even cracked this sweet Storyteller beer. We got
but you are talking about it.
Oh, yeah, we've been talking about this. Yeah, I know. We went down a long chain of stuff to get to the Storyteller beer, but this is going to be a crisp, crushable lager, just like this movie was crisp and...
I mean, a lot of things got crushed.
skulls.
Yep.
Legs,
organs.
internal organs. Yeah, it fits perfectly.
Heads.
Now,
you said skulls. That's where the head.
If this was a
skull is found in the head.
If this was a lime Ricky, it would have probably hit the mark a little better. But
all right.
This is the best beer we.
Well, I'm sorry. We've already had a few drinks, but you can't tell from the. It's going to be. I think I'm still drunk from our Christmas episode, frankly.
Well, yeah, this is going to be this is an adventure. Yeah.
All right, let's just crack into this so we can talk about this insane movie. Yes, please.
Yeah. Oh, holy shit.
I need a shot of this beer. I wasn't planning on doing it in this mug. I don't have the fucking thing set up either. I did not plan this well. So after the Golden Harvest International logo, which I was questioning whether that was real or not, doesn't seem right to me. That's the same company that made all of Bruce Lee's movies, and Diagonal Pictures. We fade in on some kind of road checkpoint. A police van rolls through before arriving at a maximum security prison, the aforementioned Prison Masculino, and we see prisoners getting unloaded from the van as a voiceover tells us that by 2021, all capitalist governments have privatized their prisons. So these guys are in the business of making money when they aren't in the business of having their prisoners introduce themselves. And I have to say, 2 out of the 3 guys we get here, we never see again, right? They introduce fucking guys. I'm like, oh, these guys are going to be important. Nope. Couldn't even find them in the fucking cast list on IMDb.
Yeah, the overdub of the guys getting introduced.
It's all overdub.
Yeah, well, the whole thing is overdub. We get a lot of jarring cinematography, too, as they're heading into this prison. Some dramatic music. And then you're right. The people we get introduced, the first 2 are gone. And then we get our hero.
Yeah, this is where we meet our main character, Riki-Oh. Although I swear they say Riki-Ho.
They definitely do.
Okay, yeah. So this is just a case of miscommunication on the part of the, marketing department or whatever else.
I don't know. So he's in there. It's manslaughter and assault that
10
gets
years.
in there.
10 years, yeah.
That's a long time for manslaughter, I guess. But if somebody
is it?
Maybe not. I don't know.
If you've been convicted for manslaughter, please let us know at the B&B podcast.
Also, we see the event that happens here, and I'm not sure
later.
how
it happens way later.
Yeah, but I'm not sure how he gets manslaughter for this. But we'll talk about it when we get there.
You think it's straight up murder?
Oh, absolutely.
No, that's fair enough. All I know is Riki-Oh opens his shirt as part of the intake process, and dude is shredded. He's also a certified badass, as evidenced by the fact that he's currently got 5 bullets lodged in his torso. But it's his reaction to the guard's question about those bullets that really shows his badass credentials.
Why didn't you let the doctors take the 5 bullets out of you?
Souvenirs.
Go ahead.
Oh, Jesus. We're coming in hot here.
Yeah, you had an erection from the jump.
So it's a badass answer. Come on. Are you telling me you didn't? Stop it.
Clearly, he is setting his credentials as the guy who's going to be our martial artist and hero here. 5 bullets in the chest. Like you said, he is absolutely shredded, ready to battle. They're going to start introducing now who his opponents are going to be in this movie. They're setting everything up right from the start here.
Well, his first opponents. From there, we cut to an intimidation scene in the showers when the leader of this prison block's biggest gang decides to fuck with one of the old inmates. This guy decides to buck up at him in what can only be described as a huge mistake, as the leader, who his henchmen call Captain, grabs some sort of metal grater type weapon and basically tears a strip off this guy's face. This gang leader is intimidating as fuck, and surely no one sane would ever mess with him. Or at least is what I thought, until he gets tripped by Riki-Oh and takes a faceplant into a randomly placed bed of nails. We're like 5 minutes into this movie, and we've already been treated to 2 big-time gore effects. There's a whole lot more of that coming, so get ready.
Yeah, the effect of the old man getting planered in the face is rough, right? And by rough, I mean it's effective. It looks like his nose has been torn off by
the other
a
one's
fucking
a little
wood
more
planer.
rough.
Yeah, what isn't good is the people's skin or effect as they transition into the gore effects. You can clearly see that it's a dummy getting impaled on the nails, but everything else other than that is quite good in terms of the makeup and effect here. Like you said, this gang leader seemed like a badass, but Riki-Oh makes his statement right away, just taking out or almost taking out one of the leaders of the sort of 4 gangs that run this prison.
Yeah, man, there is one for each cell block, like you were just alluding to. But after losing an eye and no small amount of dignity, the captain wants his revenge on Riki-Oh. But rather than get his own hands dirty, he decides to enlist the talents of a particularly notorious inmate called Zorro. This guy's been in solitary for a while, and apparently the solitary confinement in this prison has an all-you-can-eat buffet. Zorro is large and not particularly intimidating looking, unless you find Buddha intimidating. You look kind of like Buddha.
He kind of did. He had the large belly, definitely, that was wrapped around. I was expecting a guy in a mask and to have a whip and a horse. I thought Zorro was an interesting naming convention here.
Yeah.
I actually find the names they use for the characters in the translation kind of funny and
They
weird
are.
at the same time.
Very strange, yes.
It feels like they did not hire someone who was very effective at sort of naming conventions to do the dub here.
I agree with that. That's definitely true as we go along here. We do get a quick scene next where that old man from the showers gets pulled by the guards and told that his probation has been denied. Turns out this was a retaliatory move by the warden, and faced with the prospect of never seeing his wife and child again, the old man decides to kill himself. As word of this makes its way through the various prison cells, it does not sit well with Riki-Oh, who somehow leaves his cell and walks out into the yard just as two guards are taking the corpse out of there. Ricky places a toy train the old man made for his son on the body, and he is really taking this hard, as evidenced by the fact that he starts screaming to the heavens while also doing what looks like Tai Chi or interpretive dance. Why is he so upset about this?
It's really strange. He's been here like less than 24 hours, and he's already made like a soulmate connection with this old man who made a toy for his child. Obviously, as an audience, we feel for the old guy who should have been getting his probation, is getting fucked over by this like capitalist prison system that they're sort of railing against here. I do not understand, though, why Ricky is so upset and why he's sort of shouting to the thunder and lightning of the sort of story here.
And how he got out of his cell? He's just fucking walking around.
It seems like they're really free in here. It does, like, despite it being a prison that like has everyone locked down, it seems like there's a lot of freedom in where they can go and what they can do. I don't understand why. We do find out later that Ricky can just physically throw himself through bars, so maybe that's what happened. I'm not sure, but
maybe. Well, Zorro's also free now, and when shower time comes around, he decides to take his shot at Ricky. And this big confrontation does not last long, as Riki-Oh punches through this guy's stomach, causing his guts to spill out onto the washroom floor. The captain witnesses this, but rather than be intimidated by it like any rational person would be, he decides to charge Ricky with what looks like a railroad spike, only to have Ricky willingly take it through the hand in order to keep the captain close, then literally punch through his body. How is Ricky able to do all these incredible things, Noel?
Ricky seems to have some superhuman strength here. The punch into the gut of Big Zorro was pretty hilarious, and we do get some reasonably good gut effects as we have it torn out. The punch through the body of the leader here, I don't know. It seems a little bit much, but the effect is okay, and the gore is there. We're gonna get some of the backstory to learn that there's some superhuman things going on here, but holy shit, Ricky gets dragged off to solitary after killing this guy.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, I'll tell you how Ricky learns about his ability to do these things. It's from his vaguely mystical uncle. And in a flashback scene set in a graveyard, Ricky is in some kind of prep school uniform, but he looks exactly the same age as he did a minute ago in the present. Still.
Yeah, this is hilarious. Oh my God.
I know.
They just put him in like this weird 80s preppy outfit. And
a crested cardigan, and that's it.
God.
Yeah, man.
Deep V-necks.
Oh my God, the V was so deep. Still, his uncle refers to him as not a child anymore and asks Ricky if he still possesses superhuman strength. Ricky decides to show him by presumably trying to punch through his uncle's body as well, but he is quickly and powerfully swatted away. Turns out his uncle knows an ancient art called Qi-Kun, which allows a person to harness life energy and redirect it or something to gain even more strength. I don't totally understand it, but after this scene, I know it lets you break a lot of tombstones.
Apparently, if you break one, your strength gets better and you can break more. So it's literally a scene of Ricky smashing with various parts of his body, 10 plus tombstones.
As his uncle just throws them at him over and over again.
My favorite is when he used his erection to smash one in half. It was the best.
Happen.
They just show dong and it just slaps that piece of tombstone. It was so good.
I believe it could have happened in this movie, but it did not happen. Let's be honest here.
I'm being fully honest.
News of Ricky's exploits have reached the highest levels of the prison, and before long, he's being summoned to appear before the assistant warden. And holy shit, is this guy the personification of a sleazebag? Not only is he corrupt as fuck, aggressively feasting on steak in an office filled with pornography, he's also got a glass eye full of mints and a claw hand, and he wants answers. So he grabs Ricky and starts making inquiries.
Where were you for those 2 years? What did you do, huh? What? Talk! Why do you have bullets in your chest?
And when his shouting doesn't get results, he claws him through the hand and just starts punching him. Turns out the assistant warden's got a few more cards to play too, as he's found Ricky's girlfriend and threatens to kill her or worse if he doesn't get some answers. And all I could think of here was, if this guy is the assistant warden, what the fuck is the actual warden going to be like?
Yeah, this character was ratcheted up to 12.
He's like this is Bond villain.
He is exactly what I thought. He was absolutely Bond villain. He has one fake eye. He's got the claw, porn everywhere. The steak he's eating is literally blood red. Like,
I'm not convinced it's cow steak. I think it might be human steak.
It did seem that way. It was just absolutely insane. The funny part, though, is after he punches the shit out of Ricky, in the face after clawing his hand down, Ricky smashes the table in half and sort of flips the shit on this warden. He really has the upper hand now. Ricky could have killed this guy, but he doesn't because I think he wants to send a message. He also wants to save the other prisoners of this place. He's not sort of doing this for himself. He wants to try to get everyone out here at this time.
That is true. Plus, there's the whole girlfriend card. Although I'm thinking about it now, the warden claims he knows where she is and that he can kill her, but as we find out later, she's already dead.
Yeah, she's done. He doesn't give a shit.
He's bluffing.
Yeah, oh yeah.
He's fucking bluffing.
Warden's
And Riki-Oh knows he's bluffing.
Oh yeah, and Ricky knows that all he cares about here, I think, is the other prisoners. He's just doing an honorable thing here.
Maybe. Well, we get an introspective flashback now as Ricky busts out the old flute and it takes... Oh, sorry. I forgot to mention that he's classically trained in the flute.
You weren't talking about his
We learned that in the assistant
He didn't rip out his dick and start like...
Nope, it's a literal flute. And he plays it, which takes him and us away to a simpler time. Just two kids in love, flying remote control plane and helicopters and running through a field while laughing. This was some of the weirdest shit I've ever seen, but it was quickly outdone by the next scene, where 5 random inmates intimidate one of the captain's old henchmen. Apparently this guy's been finking on people and getting them killed, and it almost gets him killed by what looks like a 3-foot-long chainsaw blade. But instead, another guy eats it when a huge tattooed inmate named Oscar shows up. Oscar absolutely buries this thing in the side of this dude's head. God damn.
Yeah, all of this is graphic.
Are you describing the whole movie or this scene?
Yeah, everything. Yeah. This scene in particular, but I want to throw back to this weird flashback. The 2 lovebirds, Ricky and his girlfriend, flying these planes. It is a lot.
Yeah.
It's strange, deep
padding?
Cuts. Maybe padding. We get this strange shot at the end that feels like it's supposed to be like a big deal. And they even show us the thing that says Ying is the incarnation of 2 fireflies.
Yeah, Ricky flies a helicopter in hanging on like a scroll with this message on it. And for some reason, it makes his girlfriend angry.
I don't know. I wrote it down because I was like,
I don't know.
This is supposed to be memorable, and then it never paid off for me. Maybe I was just confused or don't understand the significance.
It's not for us.
Like you said, we get a graphic scene of Oscar. He's one of the leaders of the gangs, and he sends this serrated blade into the head of another guy. I thought the guy was toast. Like, I thought he was over at this point.
Apparently not.
He's alive, and I don't know how, but despite having a third of his head chopped off, we're going to have our Ricky character try to save him here.
For sure. It turns out this Oscar guy is firmly in the pocket of the assistant warden. In fact, he receives a special knife to enforce the rules, one that he quickly unsheathes in our next scene. They're crucifying that guy who ate the saw blade. I guess he is still alive, like you said. I don't fucking know how, but he is. And Oscar jumps down from the crucifix to start slashing away at Riki-Oh. Ricky gets his forearm sliced and gets a face full of powdered glass, but after breaking some kind of water main in the ground and washing his eyes out, then stitching up his forearm by hand using his own hair, he's ready to face Oscar again. That description sounds ridiculous, but it's nothing. Nothing compared to what happens next.
Holy fuck the action in this film. After sewing his own arm out,
with his hair.
With his own hair.
His hair is hanging down from his head and he's sewing his arm up. What in the fuck?
Somehow dodges an attack by this Oscar character and slaps Oscar in the back of the head. What happens when Ricky slaps Oscar in the back of his head?
His eye flies out of his fucking skull.
And within seconds, crows launch from the sky and eat his fucking eye. It's amazing.
They're right on it. Where did those birds come from?
It's out of control. I don't understand. After that, though, after Oscar's eye has been popped out and crows have eaten his eye, he decides to stab himself in his own stomach. We think it's sort of a form of suicide here. We think he's...
Seppuku, as they say. That's Japanese, I think.
Oh, wow,
But-
that's a Chinese film. What are you doing?
Come on, don't do that. Listen, that's just what it's called in Japan.
Oh, okay, I understand.
Anyway.
Yeah.
No, Oscar apparently has been sufficiently impressed enough to do this, or so it seems. But when Ricky approaches them, he finds himself being choked by Oscar's intestines until he caves in his skull with an X-ray punch.
Till Ricky caves in Oscar's skull, yeah.
Yeah, man, this comes after the assistant warden's encouraging words,
All right, you got a lot of guts, Oscar.
which means that as soon as Oscar's down, Ricky's attention goes right to him. A bunch of other prisoners show up to attack the assistant warden as well. They're tired of his cruel punishment and corruption, but as soon as they get close enough to hurt him, we get the sudden appearance of that guy from the DVD case that you called Asian Elvis.
His name is Tarzan.
That's what they call him,
Again, another strange sort of overdub here in names. Doesn't work for me. He definitely looks like Asian Elvis. He's a massive man with a lot of strength, and he comes in here to sort of protect the assistant warden.
Sorry, late stage Elvis. He's very plump.
Very late stage.
But he's got the mutton chops and he's got the fucking coiffed
hair.
Yeah,
It's all greased back.
a
It's all good.
pompadour, if you will.
Yes.
No, man. We just got a pair of I can describe this figure skaters here. They fly up out of the ground with the guys from Big Trouble in Little China, minus the hats, and they clearly have some kind of awesome abilities that Ricky can sense. Or maybe he just decides that enough gratuitous blood has been spilled on this day, as he decides to walk away and spend some time with the godson of the man he just killed. This is Alan, he's Oscar's godson, and he's got no tongue. So imagine how thrilled he is when Ricky gifts him his flute, and he can finally make sound for the first time in years. Are you imagining it?
No, I
How-
see it. He
how
dances
fucking-
around so happy. This Alec character is interesting, and it seems like he's going to go from being an enemy to Ricky to maybe a friend now that he's been given this release. You called him a godson. I thought it was his cousin, but
I swear they said godson. It could have been cousin.
I don't know, but
I'm very
it
drunk.
doesn't really matter. What he does do, though, is he tells Ricky about a poppy and opium drug ring that's being grown in the jail here, and Ricky is not about to allow that to go on much longer, is he?
No, he's not. But when one of those guys I referred to as figure skaters earlier, I think his name was Rogan, realizes that Alan has told Riki-Oh this, they corner Alan and offer him a choice. Use his now dead godfather's knife to get close to Ricky and kill him, or die. Alan doesn't want to kill Ricky, even after they show him his godfather's tattoo pinned up on the wall like a goddamn tapestry. So they slash the lower half of his face off and then skin him alive. And if you think this isn't going to lead to Ricky once again screaming to the heavens and dancing around, you clearly haven't been paying attention.
It's so graphic. This like knife chop.
The
and-
screaming? Oh.
Well, the screaming is loud, but the actual
Every time someone
skinning
dies
of
in the
him-
prison, Ricky's
Yeah.
just screaming up at the head. No, but you're right. The skinning is super graphic.
Ricky's not going to let this stand, right? He's going to get back at the other like area of the prison bosses for this. He can't let this happen. Alan was a great guy with no tongue who liked to play the flute, who lost all of his skin. Not okay.
It's a tale as old as time.
Yeah, we've heard this one
Just
before.
a man with no tongue who loves to play the flute getting skinned alive. That's right. Yeah. No, Ricky, you're right. Will not stand for this. And so he sets fire to that poppy supply, which gets the attention of the assistant warden and that figure skater guy, Rogan, who charges outside and is immediately confronted.
Bastard! Why are you growing opium? So you're the one. You burned the whole stock. I'm doing everything for Alan. You're dead.
I can't tell if we're losing something in translation here, or maybe it's the overdub, but I don't totally understand this exchange. Either way, it looks like we're going to get an incredible fight between Ricky and Rogan. But after a brief exchange that culminates with Rogan seemingly flying through space and time thanks to some real low-grade editing effects, he reveals that he has hit Ricky's death spot, and Ricky will soon be a dead man. And all I could think of here was, yeah, right, maybe if you didn't know Chi Kun, am I right?
Things do look bad for Ricky here. That weird edited punch that sends him into a wall.
So fucking choppy.
Oh, it was really bad.
Yeah.
We're told he's about to die, but we know better, right? We have just seen a scene of him screaming to the gods, calling them bastards. we know that revenge is coming, and also we have 45 minutes left in this movie. There's no way it's over yet.
We have like an hour left in this movie at this
Yeah,
point. It's a
holy
long
shit.
time. We're definitely not done. No. Still, that other figure skater guy shows up. His specialty apparently is knitting needles on a string, and the two of them start taking Ricky apart, along with Asian Elvis, a.k.a. Tarzan. They are about to finish Ricky off, but the assistant warden sounds the alarm and announces that any prisoners who aren't back in their cells will be summarily shot. But aren't these guys working for him? Why does this apply to them?
I don't know. It's really strange. All of a sudden, when they're about to finish off our hero, shots do start getting fired and they flee. The Tarzan character, Asian Elvis, as we're describing him in this movie, picks up Ricky and runs him into another cell, kind of saving him here. It looked like he was about to be killed. Things are not going to go well, though, for Ricky or Tarzan when they get to this cell. What happens?
Well, I was going to say, you say kind of saving him, but once they get inside that room, it slowly starts filling with cement. I would say that Ricky is trapped, but it takes him about 3 seconds to get out of there. He just dives through a steel door that's actually made of like wrapping paper. This effect is not good.
So we've been praising the gore effects. The breaking through metal effects in this have not seemed realistic even a little bit. This is rough. He goes through it like it's nothing, just like you said. It's like putting a fist through like paper mache. It's not. Yeah, it's so quick, right? He gets out of there, but then he also decides to save Tarzan. He pulls out that other guy who's trying to harm or kill him and carries him or starts carrying him up some stairs until the concrete starts to solidify and they take a little tumble back down the stairs.
Well, yeah, that is the problem. Ricky's about to blow the lid off this whole prison opium ring, but unfortunately, all that cement that made its way into his body hardens, thus essentially turning him into a statue and allowing the assistant warden to dispose of all the evidence. So now all the assistant warden has to do is deal with the warden, and he'll be sitting pretty. If the warden never shows up, I mean. The assistant warden sets up a big red carpet welcome, but the warden takes so long to arrive that the assistant ends up falling asleep on a big pile of dudes. This is the weirdest fucking movie. Like, honestly, what's happening here?
Yeah, it is strange that they chose to do this. I think they're just trying to show how incompetent the assistant warden is, right? Like, if he's not watching porn or eating raw steaks, stabbing people with his hook hand, he's got nothing. There's nothing left for him, right? He can't sit and be patient for a warden to arrive.
Yeah.
The warden does arrive, and he looks like an evil count motherfucker.
See, I was going to say he looks like a cross between a pimp and the guy from Raiders of the Lost Ark who has that amulet burned into his hands.
Yeah,
His
fair.
son is also with him, and this kid is like an Asian version of the fat kid from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I have no idea what's going on here.
Yeah, he kind of looks like that German child who eats too much chocolate mixed with Psy. Like
The guy from Gangnam Style?
Yeah, that's kind of what I think of when I saw him. I was like, those two together is kind of what we get when we get that child. It is clearly intentionally obnoxious, though. It has like tartan leggings, has the worst bowl cut I've seen in like several
it's a
decades.
Huge bowl cut.
It's terrible and is just an absolute gong show.
He is for sure. Now, the warden is not happy about the opium farm being burned down. In fact, the whole thing almost gives him a heart attack, but he drinks some water, so he's fine.
And he ate a whole bunch of candy, too.
He did.
Don't
true.
Don't downplay that part.
But the assistant warden takes him and his kid to see Ricky, who is, of course, covered in cement and unable to move. But because he's Riki-Oh, he of course breaks out of the cement and grabs the warden through the prison bars. Luckily for the warden, Asian Elvis busts through the wall of Ricky's cell like the goddamn Kool-Aid Man and commences to beating the ever-loving shit out of him. Now, how did he know when to do that? He's behind a stone wall. He can't see what's happening.
There was some kind of signal given. I don't know. What's baffling to me is Ricky saves fucking Tarzan.
Oh, like a few minutes ago.
Yeah, a few minutes ago, he carried him out of that room so that Tarzan didn't die to the concrete. And then all of a sudden, Tarzan is breaking into Ricky's cell and punching the shit out of him. He traps him in the bars by bending the bars around his arms and keeping him there. And then is just giving him the giant kidney shots, which would kill pretty much anyone else. But we know that that's not going to work for Ricky. Like, Ricky is not done here, is he?
Oh, fuck no. He suddenly breaks free, shatters Tarzan's elbow, and then punches through his jaw, which was absolutely incredible. And then, when Tarzan takes one last swing at him, punches through his fist, leaving Asian Elvis as a gooey pile of viscera and bone fragments. And having escaped death once more, Riki turns his rage on the warden, confronting him with his own humanity.
Enough! We're human beings! Human beings!
Having seen what Riki is capable of at this point, I'm not sure that's true.
He's got some superpowers for sure here.
Yes.
This was the most aggressive fist bump I have seen in the history of time.
God damn. I thought the one earlier was bad when he disfigured that guy's fingers. He punches through the dude's hand. His fist basically comes out the guy's elbow. God damn.
Oh, it's pretty amazing. I assume Tarzan is toast here. Like, I think he's over.
Oh, we all assumed that,
But we're going to find in a second here because the warden decides it's time now to use his magical squishing cell.
It's not magical. It's just science.
Mechanical.
I was going to say it's
the
the opposite of magical.
Yeah.
No, he tries to crush Riki in his cell by using a remote control to activate a thing that slowly brings the ceiling down, which would definitely have finished the job had it not been for Asian Elvis summoning all the strength and functional bones he has left to slow the crushing and allow Riki to dive out through the bars, which you alluded to earlier. But they still capture him and bury Riki up to his neck where, if he can survive for 7 days, he'll be declared a free man. I have to ask at this point, because between this labor and the crucifixion earlier, is this whole thing one big biblical analogy? Is Riki-Oh Asian Kung Fu Jesus?
It does seem that way, right? They are putting him against the ultimate odds. He seems to be surviving. Not only do they go to his neck, they actually bury him above his head, giving him only a bamboo tube to breathe through. Is there any chance he survives 7 days under there without water, without food? There's no way he can make this, right?
I mean, I would have assumed that as well, but again, he's clearly not human. I mean, he says it, but it's not true. It cannot be true, as we'll find out later. But in the meantime, after a random scene of the two figure skaters killing a dog, we see another flashback scene of Riki's girlfriend walking through a park at night. She is very unfortunately in the wrong place at the wrong time, as she stumbles upon a whole bunch of junkies and their drug dealers who are supplying them. Drug dealers who subsequently grab her and take her back to their boss, who basically says to get rid of her. She won't give them the satisfaction, though, as she instead runs off a roof and splatters down to the ground below. Now, as you might assume, this is how Riki ended up with the 5 bullets in his chest. He bull rushes the drug kingpin and just absorbs shot after shot before shattering this guy's kneecap and making a literal fist-sized dent in his head. Have we hyped up the effects in this movie enough? Because I'm not sure we have.
You cannot describe this effectively enough.
The practical effects?
The practical effects
They're so fucking good, aren't they?
of the punch in the skull here.
It leaves a fist dent in the dude's head.
It's amazing.
Yes.
And it pulls the skin up and around his fist, and it looks so good. This is where he gets the manslaughter charge, right? He absorbs the 5
yes,
shots.
This is absolutely where.
This is why I don't think it's manslaughter, right? Clearly, it's at least second degree. You could say that this isn't premeditated, but he's definitely reacting on rage to the death of his girlfriend.
But the key is he's reacting, not acting. He didn't plot this out. He's in a fury.
That's why it's second degree, not.
That's why it's
not
manslaughter.
First degree. No. Manslaughter is
He didn't
accidental
know his fist was
death.
going to cave that dude's head in.
What are you talking about? The guy is superhuman. He knows when he applies that amount of force that it's going to end the person he's applying it to.
Probably.
But maybe he had a good attorney. That's what we're saying.
Maybe. Yeah, man. Well, it's been 7 days, so the assistant warden, and his fat German son go to dig Riki up and see if he is risen. And after a delightful point of view shot of an excavator digging into the ground and perfectly snagging Riki-Oh, we find that he is indeed risen. In fact, he shatters the chains he was bound in and flips down onto the ground, striking a triumphant pose. Asian Kung Fu Jesus for the win. No, it turns out the guy driving the excavator is that figure skater guy, Rogan, and Riki is once again captured. And you said it while we were watching this, they are really throwing the obstacles in Riki-Oh's way here. This is practically a Book of Job situation.
So much rising action. This guy has gone through more problems than I'm trying to think of.
Job from the Book of Job.
Sure. I was trying to get away from a religious analogy here.
I think this whole movie is a religious analogy.
I don't disagree, but he's dealing with a Britney Spears-esque lifestyle here. This is a lot of shit going bad for him, just like it went for Britney,
You are a legendary Britney apologist. I don't know how I forgot that.
Well, yeah, just
how does that not come up in early?
He's showing his snap out of the doors
Come
of
on.
taxi cabs, all of the fucking movie.
You're
It's
saying
just
he's dating Justin Timberlake? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, not anymore. There was also some weird allegations there too. I don't know if we should
God,
have brought
let's-
this
all
up.
right,
Well,
Well, that was a mistake.
oh,
Fuck, what?
Justin's all wrapped up in that as well, isn't he?
I don't know anything about that, but they torture the shit out of Ricky here, with one figure skater pummeling him with a wrench before Rogan jams a bunch of razor blades in Ricky's mouth and bitch slapping him over and over again. But Ricky gets the last laugh, kind of, when he spits all those razor blades into the warden's face. Literally. That earns him a one ticket to solitary confinement, but the warden didn't count on one thing. That whichever prisoner he chose to bring Ricky his food would obviously be on his side and pump him up with inspiring comments like this one.
I brought something for you to eat. You haven't eaten for a whole week, Ricky. Don't forget, you're our hope and our dream. Come on, Ricky, eat.
He is the hero of this prison, Noel. The people are behind him.
Full plate of rice. He eats it. He gets this message. He's ready to then save the rest of the prison. And of course, the warden somehow figures out, I know how he figures out. The tattletale from the start of the movie gives away the rice guy.
Yeah, that guy who finks on everyone causes yet another prisoner to be killed. And after that, the assistant warden brings his corpse to Ricky's cell as a present for him. But Ricky has slipped his chains and is now suspended from the roof of his cell. So when that warden and the snitch guy enter to get the answers on how he escaped, they get a lot more than that, as Ricky drops down from the ceiling, then punches the top of the snitch's head off before taking out the assistant warden's other eye, which eventually causes him to tumble down some stairs before getting his arm chopped off by the other prisoners. So he's looked better.
I mean, yeah, and he can't look anymore, so things are pretty bad for him. No eyes. The punching the half of the head off,
Great shit.
fucking amazing.
The only part of the guy's head that stays on is the lower half of his jaw.
We get brain flying off of here.
You get everything flying off here.
It's really good. The eye knocked out of the assistant warden is great. Everything is really good right here, other than the sound effects of the warden falling down the stairs. There's like they spent so much time on this incredible makeup, and the sound effect is so terrible.
Not great.
We are now getting the prisoners and our hero rising up. All is going to be good for them, right? There's no resistance.
Well, I mean, the warden's still out there, and he, despite the assistant warden being killed, is really feeling himself now, casually chopping the arms off of prisoners while his son looks on in his elf pajamas. But just then, Ricky rides in on the assistant warden's barely still alive body, which will lead us into our final conflict. Well, after the warden shoots his own assistant with something that causes his body to swell up and explode, what the fuck did he shoot him with? Compressed air? Dude turns into a balloon, then pops, sending blood and guts and viscera everywhere.
You made it a sort of comparison to Willy Wonka earlier. This is just like the girl who eats the blueberry. Like,
There
just
you go.
fucking blows up and the assistant warden explodes. I don't understand what's in these bullets. Clearly, it's Wonka-esque if the people who are getting shot by them are turning into balloons and exploding. And we get another one of those in a moment. But assistant warden's dead, and we have Ricky versus warden and the two other wing bosses who are still left.
Well, yes. Ricky is completely ready to fuck up the warden here, but the two figure skaters reappear and try to kill him with crushing body blows, and also by dropping a giant range hood on him. This is the fight we've been waiting for, as they exchange glorious martial arts kicks before Ricky steers Rogan's leg into a giant vat of nitroglycerin, thus freezing it and allowing Ricky to break it off his body. This causes the other figure skater to run away, which angers the warden enough to shoot him in the ass. So Ricky's got the warden cornered, and he'll definitely be able to wrap this up quick. You know, unless the warden is somehow able to transform himself into a giant night beast-esque monster. What's that you say? He is able to transform himself into a giant night beast-esque monster?
We get probably the worst makeup effect in this entire movie here.
Oh, definitely, yes.
As the two wing bosses both die, we get the warden as the final fight, and he transforms into some kind of kung fu monster, right? It's supposed to be this giant beast with strong muscles and strong kung fu skills, but He really looks like the Attack of the Beast creature head to me on the body
Yeah,
of
you
some
mentioned that. That was a very little listened to episode from our last season.
Sorry, I shouldn't bring that one back up, obviously. But the body of this guy looks like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson with some really weird demented head. This massive creature who is about to take on our hero, Riki-Oh.
Yeah, man, and Riki-Oh just keeps punching through the warden, eventually picking him by the dick and throwing him into a giant meat grinder, where he slowly sinks as a truly absurd amount of blood sprays everywhere. And I mean everywhere. Ricky is completely covered in it, as is the floor and walls of this room. And as he triumphantly holds the warden's deformed head up, we know that a new day is dawning on this prison. Now, if only there was some way to show this with symbolism. Maybe a wall coming down or something. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here.
Oh my goodness. This grinder scene is maybe the most blood I have ever seen displayed in any scene ever.
More than Kill Bill Volume 1?
Oh.
It's black and white, though. You couldn't see all that.
Good question. I love Kill Bill Volume 1, by the way.
Same. What a great movie.
Good movie to throw in here. There was so much blood that a fucking rainbow came off of one of the blood sprays. Like, I have never seen that in a movie in my life.
Yeah.
I have never seen a fucking rainbow. Ricky also throws down the taunt, "Stop fighting," as this guy is getting ground, and it does end him. We transition to him going out into the sort of prison area where... The yard, exactly, where the prisoners are now fighting against the guards. And like you said... we get this very, very symbolic moment where he steps up to a wall and his fist glows with light as he punches it and all of the fucking blocks fall down. He drops "You are all free now" as this intense music plays and they all run out into the sunset.
Yeah, man, and that's how things end, with Riki-Oh walking through the ridiculously huge hole he punched in the prison wall and back into the world and freedom. But the whipped cream on the sundae is the freeze frame we get as he strides towards the camera, a man among men, the conquering warrior ready to reclaim the life that was stolen from him. Asian Kung Fu Jesus for the win.
How can you compete with that, right? Like, there's nothing that can step up and take on a Ricky Jesus-O. It is exactly what it was meant to be.
What an incredible fucking journey. From start to finish. I feel like we got through this fast, but it doesn't even fucking matter. Like, this is just... I mean, we're going to get to our ratings in a second here, but I feel like this is a movie that deserves to be seen.
There's going to be less people who listen to this episode because they do not know what this is, and I feel bad because they need to see this. It is something.
They're missing out.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Well, this is a good time to get to our ratings the way we always do this. We rate the movie on a scale of 1 to 10 two times. 1 to 10 for how bad it is, 1 to 10 for how enjoyable, and the goal is to find movies that are a 10 out of 10 on both scales, or what we call the Crit 20. And for me, I want so badly to give this a 10 for how bad this is, because the acting is fucking awful. The overdub, I don't know if it's like a legitimate overdub or just a terrible overdub, but it kind of takes away from the impact of the movie in general. And there's a few other things I can point out, the kind of the minimalist sets, the complete absurdity of some of the plot of this movie, Riki-Oh's seemingly limitless powers. He's got like a fucking god mode running through these guys that they're not even fucking relevant.
It's a fucking video game.
So I would love to give it a 10, but the practical effects in this are so good that I feel like I can't. Like, they are fucking ridiculous, wildly unrealistic, and completely over the top. But whoever set this all up did a really good job, I feel, in most cases. Maybe not when the warden transforms into that fucking, like, the Thing-esque monster. But other than that, I mean, the blood splatter, the fucking fist in the head, punching through the jaw, even the fucking grater to the face in that old guy, like, I think it's excessive, but it's, like, well done in the way they've done it. So, listen, I'm going to give it a 9 for how bad it is. You are, like, sighing and shaking your head. What do you think?
This is a 10 bad. I'm just going to start out with 10 bad. And my main problem with what you're saying here is the makeup, particularly the blood effects, are phenomenal. Like,
that's why it's not a 10.
Absolutely great.
Yes.
But all of the makeup of humans as they are getting injured or hit by
it's a little rubbery.
It's really bad.
Yeah.
The story is absolutely batshit. Like fucking Kung Fu Jesus is an insane idea.
Well, he's just born with this power. Superhuman strength.
Well, he's not born with his uncle. Well, no, you're right. He's born with it and his uncle hones it. Bullshit. The story is insane. The acting is insane. There's a lot of terrible cuts. The effects of people as they're getting impacted or injured by things are really non-believable. All of this to me adds up to a 10.
I get why you're saying that, and I knew it was a possibility.
The dub as well. The dub is terrible.
I mentioned the dub.
The
dub's
terrible.
why I have it as a 9. I saw it's like an 8. If the thing wasn't dubbed, I'd probably have it like a 7 or an 8.
And when I first saw the dub, it felt like they were dubbing it to match what the mouths were doing.
Oh no, they are not doing that.
But they weren't. Like, it was not at all. They were just dubbing it to try to fit with the nonsense story, and like it does not come across well. The names they choose for the characters in English are absolutely bullshit.
You didn't like Tarzan?
Tarzan and Zorro? Are you fucking kidding me?
All right. I can tell you feel passionately about this. I understand why you called it a 10 bad. I personally don't agree because the practical effects, in my mind, they are of a high enough caliber that I can't give it the 10. But how enjoyable did you find this movie on a scale of 1 to 10?
I enjoyed the action.
Yeah.
I felt that there were at times where it was stunted, like it didn't go on long enough. I felt like some of the martial arts scenes could have been better. The Riki character, the person who performed as Riki, was a good martial artist.
I mean, I have no way of knowing if that's true or not, but he was in great shape and he sold everything he was doing.
Yeah, I felt like it was pretty good. I thought that the dub was poor.
But hilariously so.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
I laughed a lot because the dub was so bad. So it was one of those that added to both bad and good. I thought the makeup effects, particularly the death scene stuff, were tremendous. Like they didn't help in my bad rating, but they certainly added to my good rating. I would say,
for
you
sure.
know how they were
enjoyable rating.
Enjoyable, yeah. Like this is my enjoyable rating.
We rewound a few times to watch some of these things over again because they were
tremendous.
Yeah.
A lot of the deaths were some of the most enjoyable we've seen in a movie. Sometimes we do that with horror movies where we watch back and see some of the kills.
You rate the kills, for sure.
And we rate them. And I felt like this was a movie where we were doing that too. And it was really fun because of that. Mm-hmm. I thought the music played in well to it too in terms of like mood. It was like almost non-existent, but it did what it did.
I was going to say, I didn't really notice the music.
Yeah, no, but I feel like it was good. I actually had this as a 10 enjoy.
Oh, shit, look at that. Rit 20. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I felt that this deserved to be recognized as one of our Crit 20 movies. It was something that I didn't come in with any expectations. I was not.
You had no idea what this was, right?
I had no idea what this fucking thing was.
You had not heard of this. It's all over the internet, man. This is a very like internet relevant movie.
It was baffling yet extraordinary to me, and I think those are the things that usually pull for me a Crit 20. I think it's funny now that you're about to throw I'm gonna say it. You're about to throw a 19 down on this bad boy. Yeah, and.
Yeah, you got it.
That might be a little harsh because I feel like this deserved the 10 bad for what it was. But you know what?
You know what else?
It's up to each
Human
of us.
Tornado.
Yeah. Oh, well,
yeah. I know 4 years later, I'm still on this.
We know
blew it.
We know this.
You blew it.
We know this is my largest mistake of the podcast. Human Tornado deserved a Crit 20 from both of us, and it didn't get it. And I was holding out. I was protecting my virginity, and that might have been a mistake.
You were waiting for the right movie.
And
it was Flash Gordon,
which I think deserved it.
Flash
I think
Gordon,
that movie was
it's a
fantastic,
good time.
and I think it did deserve it. Yeah. But if there's one movie we'd watch that I think deserved an equal rating to this, it would have been Human Tornado, and I apologize for that. We're about to approach Black History again, and I am hoping we get back into some.
No Rudy Ray Moore this year.
No Rudy, but okay. No. But yeah, this deserved a Crit 20 for me. I felt like it was there, and we're about to hear your enjoyability.
Well, we've already spoiled it. I found this to be a 10 enjoyable movie. A lot of fun. Just the practical effects, the kills in this, the gore, and the fucking the one guy tried to choke a guy with his own intestines. Like, come on, what do you do? How do you put a price on that? That's great shit. No, I really thought that they were just all, whether it was comedy or not, they were all in on it. They went like above and beyond.
It took guts.
They had guts. They definitely had guts. No, man, the joy of this was just like splattered all over the screen, literally. I couldn't give it the 10 for bad. I'm 100% giving it the 10 for enjoyable. everything about this, from the overacting, from the terrible fucking dub, from the absurd, weird fucking characters, like the warden's kid, I don't know what the fuck he's supposed to be. The assistant warden, where they just put like gimmick after gimmick into this guy's presentation. Why did he have a extensive library of porn behind him?
I have no idea. I don't understand. It was just shaping.
You caught
his
that
character.
right away.
Oh yeah,
you were
yeah.
like, "Those are VHS porn tapes," and they were, all of them, naked ladies on the spine of the VHS. I don't understand it. That's why I keep coming back to, I think this is a comedy. I think this whole thing is a parody of martial arts movies, because I cannot believe that somebody would have genuinely made this being like, this is going to be our Enter the Dragon. But, I don't care. Either way, we're talking enjoyable.
Yeah.
It's a 10 enjoyable. This is great fucking shit. It's a great time. If you haven't seen Riki-Oh, the story of Ricky, I cannot recommend it enough. I had a hard time tracking the DVD down. I had to buy it from Amazon.com in the States. If you're a Canadian listener, they'll deliver to Canada. Go get it. But fuck, man, this is a good time. I have it. You're right. I have it 19 out of 20. You called it from the jump. It was a good time, but I valued the practical effects too much to give it the 20. That's me. But I'm glad that you did. I'm thrilled that you did. You might have been holding out for your first one, but you're a real fucking whore now at the 20s. No, I'm just kidding.
I have been throwing out them.
This is the first one. This first one of the season.
Yeah, it's true. We've been quiet this season on Crit 20s, haven't we? Yeah.
I think we average like 2 a year, maybe.
Yeah, it's true. We can't. If we threw them out there every episode, then they wouldn't be sort of where we truly felt. Right?
I agree.
You got to earn the Crit 20 to be a part of our
This was
podcast.
cool as shit. How'd you feel about this beer, though?
Easily crushable. I was done so fast. This lager, they want you to tell a story with your friends and family, and the story is crush 7 of these and you will feel tremendous still as you watch movies about people getting punched with their heads off. Storyteller's great. It would have been hilarious to have a Lime Ricky Storyteller to go with this, and that is a bit of a miss. But I do feel like we are bad movies in beer, not bad movies in cocktails, so I'm not going to harsh on you too much here. But if you get a chance to try the Storyteller Lager, grab a can or 6 because you are going to enjoy them.
Well, as someone who actually loves lagers, I will agree. This is just your classic lager. You can easily make a night of this. Just, 6, 12, whatever, cash them out. You'll feel great, and you'll feel okay the next morning because they're not super hoppy. They're not super ABV. That's the story of this beer, is it is a crushable lager. And this is coming from me, the guy who actually likes lagers. So
You're just saying you're the only lager opinion that matters, is what I'm hearing right now.
of the two of us, I would say yeah. So if somebody wants to hear about a bullshit fucking hazy IPA, yes, listen to Noel. But I'm telling you, this is Coop talking here.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lager you can set your watch to.
Imagine watching the movie about the story of Ricky and drinking a Ricky. That would have been tremendous. I don't know.
Well, imagine watching a movie about a serial killer whose consciousness gets put in the body of a snowman. That's what we're going to be doing 2 weeks from now.
What?
That's right. We're going to be watching the horror film Jack Frost.
Really?
That's right.
I have never seen this.
I'm not surprised by this. But not to be confused, by the way, with the Michael Keaton family movie of the mid-90s, also called Jack Frost, where a dead father gets his consciousness put in the body of a snowman.
Should we watch them both and then?
Oh, we should not.
Okay.
We're just going to focus on the one that's enjoyable and entertaining. And that is the horror movie Jack Frost.
Poor Michael Keaton.
Listen, I love Michael Keaton, but Jack Frost is not going to be a movie that he's remembered for.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, all right.
No. So that'll be in 2 weeks' time. We're going to go. It's been a while since we did a horror movie, actually. I think we're overdue.
I miss some horror.
Me too. So we're going to do Jack Frost in a couple weeks. Before then, if you have not already, please follow us on social media at the BMB Podcast on Twitter and Instagram.
Please send us emails, thebmbpodcast@gmail.com.
Absolutely. We always love hearing from you. And although we are in the back half of our season now, I think, we still got time for a request or two if you want to send one in. So hit us up. Don't be afraid to slide into the DMs. Thank you for joining us today for Riki-Oh, the story of Ricky. We hope you'll join us in 2 weeks for Jack Frost. Until then, I'm Cooper.
And I'm Nolan.
And we'll see you next time on Bad Movies and Beer.
Keep punching through those expectations.
Oh, very motivational. The greatest Hong Kong martial arts action revenge gore-soaked prison breakout love story cult film of 1991 ever put on DVD.